Well, welcome back to Thoughts While Thinking and rearranging my prejudices as I usually do while I think I'm thinking. Sometimes I really think I'm thinking and leaving those prejudices alone. But anyway, we're talking about today the enhanced immune system. And this goes back to when I was just a young boy and milking and gathering eggs and that sort of thing. And so we built up an immune system, I guess, back there because we didn't have the most sanitary conditions to work in like we do today. Uh, so we had that immune system built up pretty good because we was exposed to everything under the sun all the time. And these old cows out there in that barn where we milked them and fed them and stuff like that. Uh, they wasn't all that too sanitary. Getting all that crap in the milk and stuff as we did that, and we'd go out and lick those salt blocks with the cows and the goats and the pigs or whoever else wanted to lick on it, the horses, and so I guess being doing that, we're immune to anything and everything this day and age. But we tried pretty hard to stay, or my folks tried pretty hard to stay sanitary and stuff. And it's all they could do is the best they could do. And they worked hard at staying there and cleaning up those old barns and cow sheds where we milked and we had a lot of fun sometimes milking. Those old cats come out there and they like to be squirted. A little bit of milk in the mouth and stuff. And we'd also shoot a little fly with that milk. And that was in the summertime. In the winter, it was a little bit more ragged than that. But we just milked about 7, 8 cows every morning and every night. And we put them in that old bucket and sometimes old cow kick that bucket right out from under you and spill all your milk. And that old bucket, we'd take that in there to that old separator. That old separator was quite a fancy machine. It just really intrigued me a whole lot because it had those little cylinders in there with different size holes and all that stuff in there. And you turn that crank and it'd spin that stuff and it'd spew that cream out on one side and that's give milk out on the other. And we'd store them in those old 5 gallon milk cans and we'd put them down in the root cellar or cellar and it stayed cool in there. It probably never got over there on the hottest days over 68 or 70 degrees. And when my mother canned and stuff, we kept all our canned goods in there that we raised in the summer. But anyway, we had those old milk cans, and we'd be taking those things to market on the weekend. And we'd feed that skim milk to those pigs. And those pigs really liked that. Sometimes I'd get a little bit fancy and soak a little corn in that old dry corn in that. That's hard stuff for them to chew. Soak it up in that milk, and they really jumped on that big time. And we raised some mighty good bacon and ham. Boy, I'll tell you what, we just had everything we probably mostly needed, and we had a bunch of chickens. I don't know how many chickens, but we had a couple of chicken sheds full of chickens, and they all laid those eggs. And then we had a shed for the fryers. And that's what we eat on Sunday dinner when the preacher come over and stuff. So anyway, we took those eggs, put them in one of those big old 48 dozen containers, and we'd store those out, and then we'd put them in the old truck my dad had, and the milk, and we off we would go to town, and he'd stop there first thing at Piggly Wiggly store, and there they would swap the cream and eggs for uh, staples like flour and sugar and stuff that we couldn't really raise very well and economically on the farm. So anyway, there's always some extra money that they got on there. So my mother would go to the Woolworth and Levine's and stuff and do the shopping, and that's pretty much what downtown Lubbock looked like about those days. And uh, we, my mom and dad knew Mr. Levine pretty good, and that's where I got all my school clothes that wasn't hand-me-downs there, and my mother got all her clothes there, and then if I had a little more money left over, I'd get to go see Roy Rogers or the Lone Ranger and stuff. I think it cost me about a dime to get in there, and sometimes I got an extra few pennies and get a bag of popcorn. And that's about what in the store looked like on the Levine's where Mother shopped. I mean, I could get hid in there pretty good, and then they'd go chasing after me. And so, we get back, and I'm thinking about and rearranging my prejudices, and we got all this viruses and variants and stuff now, and we had all of that isolation, and we had all of that mask and stuff, and I think that proved out to be pretty ineffective, and we got all that natural immunity. And here's a little song this old frog wrote. He says, your conspiracy theorist friend was right, and you owe him an apology. And so, most people don't really don't want to know the truth. They just really want assurances what they believe is the truth. And there again, we're rearranging our prejudices. And so we've got that natural immunity fighting those viruses out there. And, that brings up a little bit of political stuff that I get kind of wrapped up in sometimes. And that old fellow says the enemies outside the gate may be dangerous, but those inside are deadly. And I think we've got some of those enemies inside right now. Well, anyway, the purpose of the United States Constitution, if you'll remember, is to limit the power of the federal government, not the power of the people. And that's my thoughts while thinking and rearranging my prejudices. And I'm doing the best I can until I can do better. And thank you and goodbye. And we'll see you on the flip side.